You think you just need more. A little more income. A little more comfort. A little more space. Just a bit more, and then everything will finally feel okay. You've been telling yourself this for years, and maybe you've even gotten there. Maybe you earn more today than you did 3 years ago. Maybe your life looks better on paper than it ever has. And yet, something is still missing. The peace you were waiting for never came. The relief you imagined never arrived. Instead, the goal just moved. A little further, a little higher, a little more out of reach. And quietly, a strange thought begins to form inside your mind. Will it ever be enough? That question feels uncomfortable. But today, we're going to look at it honestly. Because the truth is, this isn't a math problem. It's not about how much you earn. It's about something deeper, something almost nobody talks about. Something happening inside your mind that quietly shapes your entire relationship with money. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's go back to Alex. In the last video, we saw how Alex was running a financial system he never chose. How his brain, his environment, and his identity were quietly shaping every decision he made with money. But something has changed. Alex started doing the work. He set up automatic savings. He paused before purchases. He noticed his patterns. He stopped fighting himself and started understanding himself. And slowly, things improved. His balance grew. His stress decreased. His financial life became more stable than it had ever been. For a moment, Alex felt something he hadn't felt in years. Pride, calm, control. But then, something strange happened. The peace didn't last. A few weeks went by, and the calm started to fade. Not because anything went wrong, not because he made a mistake, not because he lost money, but because his mind began doing something he didn't expect. It started looking for the next thing. A bigger goal, a higher target, a new comparison. Maybe I should be saving more. Maybe my friends are doing better. Maybe I'm already behind. And just like that, the satisfaction was gone. The money in his account hadn't changed, but the way he felt about it had. And this is where Alex bumped into something most people never recognize. A hidden mechanism inside the human mind that quietly controls how we feel about money, no matter how much we have. Let's talk about what it actually is. The mind was never designed to feel satisfied. Your mind was never designed to feel satisfied for very long. That's something almost no financial advice ever explains. For thousands of years, the human brain evolved in a world where standing still meant danger. If your ancestors became too comfortable, too relaxed, too satisfied with what they had, they would stop searching, they would stop preparing, they would stop adapting. And in a world full of unpredictable threats, that kind of comfort could cost them their lives. So the brain developed a very specific feature. Whatever you achieve, whatever you gain, whatever you build, the feeling of satisfaction it creates is temporary by design. You reach a goal, you feel good, and then, almost automatically, the feeling fades. Not because the achievement wasn't real, not because you don't appreciate it, but because your brain quickly resets the baseline. What used to feel like more suddenly becomes the new normal. And once it becomes normal, the brain starts looking for the next more. Psychologists have a name for this. They call it the hedonic treadmill. Imagine walking on a treadmill. No matter how fast you run, no matter how hard you push, the floor keeps moving underneath you. You're constantly in motion, but you never actually arrive anywhere new. That's exactly what your mind does with money. You imagine that earning more will make you feel rich. You imagine that saving more will make you feel safe. You imagine that buying that thing will make you feel complete. And for a short moment, it does, but then the treadmill keeps moving. The new amount becomes your new normal. The new lifestyle becomes your new baseline. The new comfort stops feeling like comfort and just starts feeling like life. And the brain quietly whispers the same thing it has whispered for thousands of years. Keep going. It's not enough yet. This isn't a flaw. This isn't weakness. This isn't a sign that something is wrong with you. It's the way your mind was built. But here's the problem. In a survival world, this mechanism kept you alive. In a modern world, it can quietly make you miserable, no matter how much you have. The comparison trap. The comparison trap is where this hidden mechanism becomes even more dangerous because it doesn't just live inside your mind. It lives in everything you see around you. For most of human history, people only compared themselves to a small group: their family, their village, maybe a few neighbors. The reference point for enough was small, local, and relatively stable. But today, that has completely changed. Now, every time you open your phone, you are exposed to the highlights of thousands of lives at once. You see houses you'll never visit, vacations you didn't take, salaries that are higher than yours, lifestyles that look effortless. And your brain, which was never built to process this much comparison, takes all of it personally. It doesn't see those images and think, "That's just the internet." It absorbs them. It stores them. It uses them, silently, as new reference points for what enough should feel like. So even when your life is objectively better than it was a few years ago, your brain measures it against an invisible standard that keeps getting higher. You're not just comparing yourself to your past anymore. You're comparing yourself to the curated lives of people you've never even met. And here's what makes this particularly painful. You almost never see the full picture. You don't see the debt behind the lifestyle. You don't see the loneliness behind the success. You don't see the anxiety behind the smile. You don't see the years of struggle behind the highlight. You only see the result, the polished version, the moment that was chosen to be shown. And your brain compares your entire reality, including your stress, your doubts, your fears, against someone else's edited surface. It's not a fair fight. It was never going to be. So you end up feeling behind, no matter where you actually are. You feel poor, even when you're not. You feel small, even when you're growing. You feel late, even when there's no race. And slowly, the comparison stops being something you do consciously. It becomes something your mind does automatically, all day, in the background of your life. This is the second layer of the trap, and it's quietly draining millions of people without them even realizing it. The lifestyle climb. The lifestyle climb is what happens when these two forces, the hedonic treadmill inside you and the comparison trap around you, start working together. Let's go back to Alex. For years, Alex believed that earning more would solve everything. He told himself that once he reached a certain salary, life would feel easier. The pressure would lift, the stress would fade, he would finally feel okay. And eventually, it happened. He got the raise, the income increased, the numbers in his account looked different. For a moment, it felt amazing. But something curious started happening. His coffee changed first. He stopped buying the regular kind. Now it was the slightly nicer one, because after all, he had earned it. Then his subscriptions grew. Just a couple more. Just small amounts. Nothing that felt dangerous. Then his apartment started feeling small. The car started feeling old. The clothes started feeling outdated. Not because anything had actually changed about them, but because his sense of normal had quietly shifted. And before he realized it, his expenses had risen to match his new income almost perfectly. He was earning more. He was spending more. He was saving roughly the same. And emotionally, he didn't feel any richer than before. This is what economists call lifestyle inflation. But underneath the term, it's really something more human than that. It's the brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. Adjusting, adapting, normalizing. Whatever you give it, it absorbs. Whatever you reach, it accepts as the new starting line. Whatever you build, it quietly asks for more. And this is why so many people who earn good incomes still feel financially stuck. It's not because they're irresponsible. It's not because they don't know better. It's because they're climbing a ladder that has no top. Every step up just reveals another step. Every milestone becomes the new floor. Every goal, once reached, stops feeling like a goal at all. And the part that almost nobody admits out loud is this: the climb itself becomes addictive. Because the brain doesn't just want money, it wants the feeling of progress, the feeling of moving forward, the feeling of becoming. So it keeps pushing for the next thing, not because it will finally make you happy, but because the chase itself feels like meaning. Until one day, you stop and ask yourself, what am I actually working for? And in that pause, something important begins. The quiet cost. The quiet cost of this entire pattern is something most people never put into words, but they feel it constantly. You feel it in the small moments. the Sunday evening tightness in your chest, the strange anxiety when you check your account, even when there's nothing wrong, the discomfort that appears when a friend mentions something they bought, the voice in your head that whispers, "You should be further along by now." None of these things are about math. They are emotional weight, and they accumulate, because when your mind is constantly chasing more, it can never fully be where you are. You're physically in the present, but mentally always somewhere ahead, always reaching, always measuring, always preparing for a version of life that hasn't arrived yet. This is the real cost. Not the money, the peace. You start losing the ability to enjoy what you've already built. The progress you made stops counting. The achievements get downgraded. The small moments lose their meaning because your attention is permanently focused on what's still missing. And slowly, you become someone who has more, but feels less. More income, less calm, more options, less clarity, more movement, less direction. This is why so many financially successful people quietly say the same thing in private. I thought I would feel different by now. It's not because they didn't work hard. It's not because they didn't achieve anything. It's because the system inside their mind never got updated. The chase never paused. The treadmill never stopped. And until that internal system is recognized, no external success will ever feel like enough. The real shift doesn't come from earning more, achieving more, or owning more. It comes from something almost no one is taught to do. It comes from learning how to define enough on your own terms, before the world defines it for you. Because if you don't decide what enough looks like for your life, the world will keep moving that target every single day. Through ads, through social media, through other people's choices, through invisible comparisons, your brain absorbs without permission. But the moment you start defining it yourself, something powerful begins to happen. You stop being a passenger in someone else's race. You start asking different questions. Not, how much more can I get? But, how much do I actually need to feel calm, safe, and free? Not, what does success look like out there? But, what does a meaningful life look like for me, specifically? These questions are uncomfortable at first, because most people have never been allowed to ask them. They've spent their whole lives chasing definitions of success that were handed to them by family, by culture, by algorithms. But once you start answering these questions honestly, something shifts. You begin to see your money differently. It stops being a way to keep up. It starts being a tool you use to build the specific life you actually want, not the life you were told you should want. You start spending intentionally instead of reactively. You start saving with purpose instead of fear. You start measuring progress against your own values, not against strangers. And slowly, the noise around you begins to quiet down. Not because the world has changed, but because you've changed your relationship with it. This is the deeper kind of wealth that almost nobody talks about. Not the wealth of having more, but the wealth of finally being satisfied with what is enough. For Alex, this shift didn't happen all at once. It happened in small moments. The moment he realized he was buying things to feel ahead, not because he actually wanted them. The moment he caught himself feeling poor while looking at his phone, even though nothing in his real life had changed. The moment he asked himself, for the first time, what kind of life he actually wanted, and noticed how unfamiliar that question felt. These moments were not dramatic. There was no big breakthrough, no sudden transformation. But they were real, and slowly, with each one, something inside him started to settle. The chase didn't completely disappear. The comparisons didn't fully stop. The brain kept doing what brains do. But now, Alex could see it. He could notice when the treadmill started moving. He could recognize when comparison was pulling him out of his own life. He could feel the difference between a desire that came from him and a desire that had been planted by something outside him. And in that awareness, choice returned. Not perfect choice, not constant choice, but enough choice to slowly build a life that felt like his own again. Most people will spend their entire lives chasing more without ever stopping to ask why. They will earn more, buy more, achieve more, and still feel the same quiet emptiness underneath it all. Because no amount of external progress can fix an internal system that was never designed to feel satisfied. But you don't have to live that way. The shift is not loud. It is not dramatic. It does not require you to abandon ambition or stop wanting good things in your life. It only requires one thing: awareness, the ability to see the patterns as they happen, to notice when the chase begins, to recognize when comparison is shaping your decisions, to pause long enough to ask whether what you're reaching for is actually yours. Because the moment you can see the system, you are no longer fully inside it. You are observing it. You are questioning it. And eventually, you are choosing differently. Not perfectly. Not all at once. Not in a single moment of transformation. But consistently. Quietly. From the inside out. True wealth is not just what you have. It is how you feel about what you have. It is the silence in your mind when you check your account. It is the calm in your chest when someone else's life looks bigger than yours. It is the ability to look at your life and recognize that it is, in many quiet ways, already enough. Because the moment you understand that more was never going to be the answer, you finally stop running. And in that stillness, for the first time in a long time, something unexpected appears. Peace. The kind no amount of money could have bought. The kind that was waiting for you the whole time. You just had to stop chasing long enough to find it.